In all of these slides where we're talking about what to do during an earthquake, you will always see a person's hand on their head or their neck. Ideally, you have your hand on your neck. Your head is pretty stiff, it's pretty hard. We have a great thing called a skull. So, what you really are trying to protect is your neck. It is much more vulnerable than your head. Put your hands over the back of your neck, not the back of your head. And then you want to hold on to that table. So as that table bounces and moves across the floor, you are bouncing and moving with it, and it continues to offer protection. Do not run. A lot of the people, that is their natural instinct. As soon as the building starts shaking that they're in, they will run for the exits. That is the worst thing you can do. Drop, cover, and hold on. That is the guidance. So try and fight your instinct to run out of the building or run out the door. The doorways are not a safer place to be. A lot of people think that that is based on a very old technology. So do not go to a doorway. It's not any safer than the rest of the room, and there's a swinging door in the way. So the chances of you either getting hit by the door or your fingers crushed in the hinges are really high. So do not go to a doorway. And a lot of folks used to talk about the triangle of life, where you got next to a table instead of underneath the table, thinking that was wiser. And that myth has been busted. Not a good thing to do. Drop, cover, and hold on. That is the message. I want to show you this video.
We spend a third of our lives in bed, so I want you to make sure that you're safe in bed. And that's why I like that video, because it is a bedroom and you just see everything falling down on top of you. This is how you ride out an earthquake in bed. You stay in bed, face down, put the pillow over the back of your head, put one of your hands on your neck if you're flexible enough to do that, and then just stay there until the shaking stops. Grab your light source, and grab your shoes before you get out of bed, because there will be broken either glass or pottery or pictures or whatever. There will be stuff on the ground that has hit the deck during the earthquake, and you don't want to step on it. The second thing on your to-do list is lie in every bed in your house, look up and around, figure out what might fall on you, and secure it. And at the very bottom of that list, there are links to give you ideas on how to secure things, different picture hangers, and how to secure either a bookcase or a dresser, or secure everything around your bed so it doesn't fall on you in the middle of the night. And then number 4 is put sturdy shoes and socks under your bed. And then 5 is put a light source under your bed so that you have those things there. Also good for power outages, but really good for earthquakes. For those of you that have kids, young kids, if you can figure out how to train with them to keep them in their beds, it will be very hard, because when the house starts shaking and their bed starts shaking, they're going to get scared and they're going to want to run to mom or dad's or whoever's bed. Teach them to stay in bed. You can certainly yell to them during the earthquake to stay in bed. They probably won't be able to hear you, but try to encourage them to stay in bed. They are much safer there than getting out of bed and running to your room. If you can fit under your bed, should you jump under there? No. Chances of you getting hurt are just higher. Stay in bed. If you're inside in a schoolroom or an office, you want to get under anything that is sturdy. Move away from the windows, just because those might break. This is a really good example. You can see the guy up against the wall who's got his hands on the back of his neck, which is exactly what he should be doing. He's kind of cradling his head with his elbows, but he's got his hands on the back of his neck. And you just stay there until the shaking stops. Another video I want to show you. This is a classroom in Alaska.
Don't let yourself be convinced to do something that you know is bad, and then even finally just share with them.
With that again. So if there's no table or desk to get under, you want to crawl to an interior wall or next to low-lying furniture like a couch. And there's nothing safer about an interior wall. It's not stronger than an exterior wall. It's just usually further away from the windows, which is what you're trying to avoid. So interior wall, and then you see the gentleman who would have trouble getting out of the chair maybe. His goal is to get lower than the back of that chair that he's sitting in, so that if something's going to come down off the ceiling, it's going to hit the back of the chair and slow down immensely before it hits him. So that's how you weather out an earthquake if there's not furniture to get under. This is what grocery stores will look like, maybe a little bit worse. That would be a bad aisle to be in. There's really no place to go. But here's some ideas. Be next to a grocery cart, beneath clothing racks if you're in a department store, lock your wheelchair wheels if you're in a wheelchair. And then I really like the clip art of the parent holding that child underneath them. That makes a lot of sense. If you're in an elevator, you want to push all the buttons, get the elevator to stop, and pry the doors open and see if you can't get out. Even if it's halfway between floors or whatever, you can get out of the elevator, you're better off. If you're in a theater, you want to get as low as you can. Again, you want stuff to hit the back of that chair before it hits you. If you are able, get down on the floor, get sticky with popcorn and the jujubes and everything else that's down there. And then if you have just exited a building, you want to go back inside. And this is why. Even if the building is very stable, there will be stuff on the outside of it, decorative concrete, glass, possibly, gargoyles, any kind of cement on the outside of a building is likely to crack and fall and hit the sidewalk, and you do not want to be under that. So if you have just exited building, go back inside. Go around the corner, get to one of those walls, and drop cover and hold on. If you're outside, get as low as you can. Stay away from power lines, buildings, and vehicles. If you're driving, pull over, set the parking brake, avoid overpasses, bridges, and power lines. So this is the overpass that is demonstrated in this slide. What's going to happen is even if this overpass is really stable, the concrete on the bottom of it that they've put there to cover the steel or whatever, that's going to crack and fall more than likely into the roadway, and you don't want to be under that. So get out from underneath overpasses and stay away from power lines. If you're near the shore or beneath a dam, as soon as you feel the earth start shaking, you drop and you protect your head and neck. And then as soon as you can, as soon as it's calm enough that you think you can get up and walk, you need to get up and walk quickly to high ground or inland. Your warning that a tsunami is coming is the ground shaking. It could be there in 2 minutes. It could be there in 2.5 hours. You just don't know. And then the other thing, if the water recedes, that's a sign that a tsunami is coming. A wall of water. This is really common because of the movies. Tsunamis it is not a wall of water. Like 5 feet tall is about as tall as they get. The wave, the mass of water that's coming inland is not high. It is long and low. So you will not see a 20-foot wall of water coming towards you. That is something you see in the movies, but it's not for real. If the earth has shaken, you just need to get to high ground. I thought this was really good, this picture, just kind of an example of how to hold a child, a small one, during an earthquake. Smartphone apps and other useful technology. We typically tell people to stay away from relying on any kind of technology after a disaster, but there are some really good things out there that could be useful after a disaster. So I wanted to let you know about them. Technology that might be useful in an emergency. Hopefully all of you know about a QR code. That black and white square is a QR code. It's unique. Every different website has its own QR code. A lot of downloading these apps is made easier if you have a QR code reader on your phone. A lot of the newer phones, it's just kind of built into the camera. So what you do is you turn your camera onto that square as if you were taking a picture, and it will send you to the website that's kind of embedded in there. Download a QR code reader if for some reason you don't have one on your phone. It will make this whole process much easier. I'm going to tell you about some of the apps that are out there. The American Red Cross and FEMA both have alerting apps. It's based on where you are, so your phone at the time. If you are in an area where there's potentially some kind of an emergency, either it happened or it's about to happen, these two apps can let you know. American Red Cross and FEMA. And I'll show you how to download all these once we're done. I just want to show you the different apps that are out there. Now, obviously, these two apps, you have to have internet access for these to work. The apps can't find you if the internet is down. So the internet would have to be up and working in order for these to actually deliver an alert to your phone. This is PulsePoint, the one on the left, the red one. tells you, if you have it up and working on your phone, tells you that someone nearby needs CPR, and it will tell you where the person is. It will also point you to the closest AED, automatic external defibrillator, and they're encouraging you to go get that AED or send someone to go get it, bring it to the patient and shock them according to the AED instructions. That's what that Pulse Point is for. And then the yellow Pulse Point app is the public's crowdsourcing. That's how they find their information to put it on this app about AEDs. Someone will go in and go, oh, I just saw an AED in this library. I want to make sure that it's connected in this app. So they load it into the app saying, library, second floor, northwest wall, there's an AED. And then somebody goes out and verifies that information, and then it becomes part of the system. So this is a crowdsourced app. All of those you need the internet up and working for because they're all geolocating kinds of apps. These ones you do not need a cell phone signal. So the American Red Cross has an app for humans as well as pets. So this is like basic first aid kind of stuff. So it's sort of like carrying a first aid book around with you all the time. And again, because it's sort of downloaded on your phone, you don't need internet access to get access to it. WebMD, same kind of thing, made for humans. A lot of good health information there, kind of like carrying around a medical book with you. This is a disaster survival app. It's pretty intense. It's wilderness survival, that kind of stuff, but you never know. It might come in handy. And again, it's kind of like carrying that book around with you. This is a hazardous material app. Really good information. There's a magic 30 minutes after a hazardous material spill where you really need to do the right things. And this will give you a clue what those right things might be if there doesn't happen to be any experts around. Google Translate. This may come in handy if for some reason you're trying to help someone that doesn't speak your language. You can translate using this app. In order for this to work without internet access, without any kind of cell phone signal, you do have to download the language that you want ahead of time. So if you're headed to a country and the dominant language is not the language you speak, download the dominant language onto your phone so that it's there if you're ever around and don't have internet access. But it might come in handy. And then this is a knot tying app. Really, really intense, more knots than you will ever need. Another app I want to encourage you to download, the middle one is Google Maps, which a lot of people use. The one on the left is Here We Go. The one on the right is maps.me. They're all just about the same. Something you need to research and remember to do is to download the maps ahead of time. Again, these work when there is no internet access, when there is no internet, Wi-Fi, cell phone signal. These will still help you navigate home or wherever you're trying to go. They still work as if they had internet, as if they had GPS and all that. But you have to have that map downloaded on your phone before the disaster hits and we lose all power. Again, if you were traveling, I would download the map of wherever you were headed just in case you're in a place where you don't have any signal. I'm not sure exactly, but I think you have to go back every 6 months for some of these and re-download it or update it or whatever. So please pay attention to that. It won't do you any good if you don't have that map underlying these apps. Once you get all these apps downloaded, I have put them all into a folder on my phone, and this is just a snapshot of my phone, and called it emergency. So I have 2 pages, I think, of apps total, just to keep my phone a little bit tidier. So those are the apps that I would recommend you downloading. There's probably a million more. These are the ones that were either free or reputable source, or I just thought were super important. The other thing I want you to do is go to the internet and sign up for 3 different things. The first one is Alert Seattle. If the internet's working and the city wants to get us information, this is how they're going to do it. They're going to send information out via Alert Seattle, and it'll be big things like boil your water for 1 minute. It's not safe to drink until we've told you it's safe to drink. There's a big hazardous material spill here. There's a big fire here. This hospital is open for trauma. This one is not. This bridge is down. It'll be big information and you will want to get it. So sign up for Alert Seattle. You can tell the city how you want to get this information. Do you want to text? Do you want phone? Do you want to email? So you can tell them how you want to get this information, And you can tell them what you want to hear about. You don't have to hear about all the things they send out. So sign up for Alert Seattle. Alert King County, similar kind of system, just covers a bigger area. I would sign up for that as well. And then Smart 911 doesn't have anything to do with disasters except for personal disasters. Smart 911 is a system where you put in your health information and information about your household members. I have 2 kids, one of them is allergic to penicillin, one of them has asthma. This is the house we live at, all kinds of stuff like that. You put in there what you would want a first responder to know as they drive up to your house. The Seattle 911 operators have access to this information. I'm not sure if the EMTs have access to it or do they just hear about it from the 911 operator who's talking to them. But they can drive up to your house in the ambulance knowing more information about you than if they were just driving up cold. What I have for you is a link to a YouTube video. There is no sound for this video, but it is slides of all these different apps. And the QR codes can get you there so you can download it onto your phone. Some of them don't have QR codes and it just says text, a word to this phone number, and that'll help you get it downloaded on your phone. And then if you want to sign up for the Seattle Prepares newsletter, I haven't started putting stuff out, but I will. And it'll just keep everybody kind of moving on this adventure of getting prepared. Next week, next Wednesday, 7 o'clock, water and what you need to know and power outage lights. It's the same link. Please share the sign up form. That's all for tonight. Please do your homework. That's what this is all about, is moving everybody a little bit closer to being super prepared. Enjoy the rest of your night.